If you make a mistake at the blocks, you have 99 meters to be pissed off. I'll tell you something. Because you're like, damn, for 99 meters. What's going on, y'all? This is Eagles, Cowboys again.
Yes. This is
All right.
the first time this year. And so far, your Eagles, I can't believe, Carl, you're going to have to explain this shit to me. Excuse me. You're going to have to explain this to me. Now, how the heck you going to be an Eagles fan living here in Houston? You still live in Houston?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, but remember now I live in Houston, not in Texas. But anyway, so, there's only a few spots I could live. People like me could live. But anyway, I'm from New Jersey. I'm South Jersey, man.
That's right.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you something. I started as an Eagles fan back with Roman Gabriel. That's what I'm talking about, which would be y'all's grandparent. So, and I remember the Dick Vermeil days and all that stuff. So, I've been an Eagles fan a long time. Oh, you got you something.
I got something. I got something just to ease the pain of what I'm watching right now.
No, you know how it's a long game. I get it. It's a long game. But the Eagles, either Eagles-Dallas game is going to be a blowout or it's going to be close. There's no regular game. So it's still there. But, anyway, this is good. Thanks for having me on here and to talk about, my Eagles. But I'm also a Cowboys fan. Remember I was drafted, so I'm not a Cowboys hater at all. I'm an Eagles lover, not a Cowboys hater, because they were getting ready to pay me some money, but I was doing all right.
What I'm going to equate to your discussion around the basics doesn't change. Football is still the same. It's still blocking, tackling, and catching. Schemes may change, but blocking, catching, and tackling does not change.
Right.
The fundamentals part of the game. And right now, with concussions and everything else, and hidden defenseless receivers and stuff like that, that part has changed, which has required defensive players and offensive players to make adjustments in terms of how we block.
Right.
So when you start talking about studying tape, reel to reel, what am I looking for if I'm looking at a runner or a sprinter run?
Good.
What am I looking for that would say, okay, here's where you're losing a step, and here's how you can pick up a step? I'm trying to understand.
Right. I get it. That's a great question. So let me break it down. So first of all, the human being can only run full speed at their full speed for only about 4 or 5 steps. That's it. They can only maintain full speed. So, and even in 100 meters, you can only go 10 yards. So 90% of your race is speeding up and slowing down. So let's just understand that. So secondly, the biggest thing you want to do is think of, the easiest way to describe it is think of pushing. Now, I'm a coach at the University of Houston. So a lot of people get technical and everything. I'm just ghetto in the way I say it. I'm like, they may say, dorsiflex. I say push a damn car. Okay. So think about it. No one ever told you how to push a car, and all of you've done it, probably because you ran out of gas because we're boys. And so no one told you, but you push that car, you get in a position and you push hard. You don't have quick steps. You don't do anything. So you push it and you never stop pushing until it leaves you. So what you want to look for, first of all, is that the right arm works the left leg. It's the opposite side of the body. So whatever your right arm does, it affects the left leg. So in order to push, your foot has to stay around. So if you see like a skipping a rock, that's the same kind of movement. So what happens is that your foot has to hit down directly under your body. It cannot be in front of you because it's stopping. So when it hits, when you're pushing in the beginning, like you're the car, you're low and it cycles right under you and pushes back. And as time goes on, your foot cycles and pushes. Now, I don't want to get too technical, but your body's designed to run fast,
Right.
Because if you go back, thousands and thousands of years, the reason why is because we run fast to win races. 50,000 years ago, they ran because they didn't want to be dinner. Okay. So the one that ran bad and was slow, his ass got eaten.
Right.
So the one that ran well, and those are the genes we ended up passing. The guy that ran well that had dinner at home, not. The biggest thing to look for is that you want to push on the ground as long as possible. Like if you want to jump high, you don't stand tall and jump. You go down and you push and you jump. If you, as a player, even as a running back, you want to get as much momentum as possible to hit the hole, right? So if you go to the hole slow, then you're not going to get as much momentum. So you want to push hard out of the beginning, right, to get the ball to keep pushing. It's the same thing in running. So you want to see someone, first of all, their hands got to come up high enough, because if your hand's high, that's the back, the opposite. So your leg is pushing. Whatever your hand does in front, your leg's doing in the back. So you want that hand to go high in the front, so it pushes in the back. So that's it. So you want to see someone stepping down and hands high.
Right. So what you're telling me is I could have been a lot faster if my arm would have been much higher up in the air.
Yeah, in the open field. Now, the thing is that what you were trying to do is get quicker. So if you want to get up to a fast speed quicker, you shorten that because you want more steps. But once you get to the open field, that's when you open up. I mean, I hear this thing all the time about Jerry Rice. He wasn't that fast. I never saw the car. So why is he not that? You stop. I mean, that to me, that was like a line, because he ran well. He stayed tall. You go back and look at him. He put his feet down. He turned over, ran relaxed, in order to caught him. So someone like you as a back, you want to turn over quickly because you want to get up to speed. And that's why you see a sprinter in my day, they would say, Carl's his start, he would have been better. Well, maybe if they had fixed their start, they would have beaten, and it's like, I won 9 out of 10 races, but I had the bad start. It's about managing the type of race. So the 100 is different from the 200, which is different from the 60.
Right. Well, I get it. I was not a 4-3 kind of guy, but I rarely got caught from behind when I was running on the football field. There's always a difference between track speed and football speed. Even though people say speed is speed. No, there's a distinct difference. When somebody's chasing your ass, you running scared. when you running and competing, you got to keep that fluidity,
right,
and that technique, and you got to trust that work. And everything
else. Most of it's the amount of time you have to run. Yeah. I mean, in football, 90% of the time you're running a short distance.
Correct.
And there's few times you open up, and the ones that open up, they're the ones that get it. So you have to run in track. You push all the way. You never stop pushing in a race. So in football, you do have to change up. But if you understand how to run, then you're able to run a certain way. You say, I'll push in the beginning. I got shorter steps to get the hole. Then I make a cut, and then I go. And now I start to push again to open up. Those are the kind of things you learn.
Here's one of the differences that I see. Super Bowl is every year.
Yeah.
The Olympics is every 4 years.
Right.
So I can understand the perspective of, will I get back there again?
Yeah.
You have to wait 4 years, and you got to do certain things in between those 4 years to actually get there again. With the Super Bowl, I mean, it's every year. So yes, you got to do certain things every year to do the same thing, but it's just a little bit different. You have a longer wait time than what we would have.
Right. Yeah, in the 100 meters, believe it or not, if you make one mistake, you lost. And I always said, if you make a mistake at the blocks, you have 99 meters to be pissed off. I'll tell you something, because you're like, damn for 99 meters. And so think about that. If the Super Bowl was either overtime, or even penalty kick. I mean, field goals or basketball, because you get that one split second, and that's it. And if you make 1 second, so then think about it. Your whole life, you get there, you make it, and you get to the Olympics, and a week before something happens in your family, you got to think about something. Maybe you're afraid, I can't even get sick, because if I get sick, if I'm 1% off, because think about this: if you run 9.9, 1% is less than 1/10. So 1% is a difference in winning the Olympics and not making the final.
Yes.
So, and you've gone your whole life, and you're there, and you're off 1% today because maybe you ate something a week ago and your stomach's a little upset. Not a lot, just a little, or maybe someone called and you have something in the family that upset you. 1% off. So that's the challenge, especially the 100 meters.
That sounds so damn technical. That really does. I mean, like, hell, body chemistry. Did I get enough sleep?
Right.
Did I dream the right dreams? All of that. Did I even lace up my shoes the correct way?
Right.
All that sounds so technical.
Yeah, yeah. And did I see that walking by and resist it? I mean,
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. Exactly.
That's why he had so many medals. That's why that's probably one of the greats.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was really clear at very young age. At 18, when I was 17 in high school, back in the 70s, because I went to college in 79. So back in the 70s, I used to watch the NBA. I used to watch, tennis and NFL. And I was like, why can't we be like them? And so I was clear what I wanted to do when I got to college. I was like, I want to be rich, I want to be famous, and I'm going to do track.
I understand the thought process behind working smarter versus working harder. But when it comes down to physical activities and activities to get better because you want to be a faster sprinter or you want to be a bigger, faster, stronger, quality football player, there's some damn work that's required.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll see. I'm sorry for interrupting, but you're exactly right. Like, for instance, there's a kid that says, how can I get my start better? Well, I'm not going to go out and take 100 starts. Okay. We're not going to do that. We can't do it. So I said, why don't you do this? Before workout, come 10 minutes early, even before your warm up. Put the blocks out in your flats, your running shoes, and just take 6 or 7 starts easy every day so that you get used to the motion. And so now if you do that 5 days a week, you put in 20, 30 starts a week extra without really doing much. But that's not hurting you physically or anything, just little things. I tell little kids all the time to take free throws in basketball. Go through free throws. Why do you guys, if you want to do something, that's okay to go out. And I tell the parents, what should I do? I can't. Go do free throws with them. If you want to run, just go say, hey, let's just go for a run together. So you're not doing it. It's all of that little extra stuff that doesn't take a lot, but at least it's something that can help you. Because Look, when you're sprinting, right, your feet touch the ground 4 to 5 times per second. So there's no way you can think, okay, I'll move my arm like this. I'll move my leg like this. It doesn't happen. You have to learn how to do it correctly, do it and forget. It has to be as innate to you like breathing. So that's the hard thing, is getting them to say, oh, we're going to change your arms like this, and you're going to have to do it for the next 3 months until you learn how to do it and forget how you do it. And, and they'll go like 2 weeks.
What you're saying is you want it to become part of who you are.
Right.
Part of your DNA. You want it to be natural. You don't want to be thinking about hit. You don't want to be thinking like that, because now you're not running at all.
Right, exactly.
You're not even allowing the body to actually function the way it's supposed to function and do the things it needs to do, because you're so busy trying to put it in the perfect position. Right,
and you have to do it. When I long jumped, right, I was in the air 1 second. So when you saw all those motions, that's 1 second. So it took me 18 months out of high school, because I came out of high school and I said, I want to jump 29. He goes, you're not going to do it the way you're jumping now. We got to change everything. So I was a high school record holder and changed everything. Well, it took me 18 months to learn it. But when I learned it, snap, and then that was it. I had to keep tuning it, because here again, off season, you kind of drift. But the bottom line is that I said, well, I'm playing long ball here, and so it took a long time. I probably took 1,000 jumps before I did it twice in a row correctly. And that's the challenge of letting kids know now. It's going to take time, and you don't get into a meet and compete, learn until you don't have to think.
Right. And so that 1,000 jumps before you did it 2 in a row, the 2 in a row was just your basic, was the baseline for where you started from to where you understood what it felt like to do it accurately.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And then I had to start jumping.
Going on, it became trying to get it done accurately every time and understand what that feeling feels like. So now it becomes part of who you are. It's almost like a golf swing too.
Yep, same thing. But if you take off 2-3 months of doing that golf swing, it's going to be off.
Way off.
You got to do it. You got to do it. You have to do it. But in football, I mean, they look at like handing off the ball. Oh, that's easy. I mean, I can't even imagine how many times you've gone back and taken the ball from the quarterback and even different quarterbacks, you still have to be in that spot. They have to be in that spot.
Right.
And because I always say every sport's individual, and they're like, well, football's a team sport. I said, well, if that lineman misses his block and you get plastered, that was an individual miss.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. He missed it individually. So I think that's what it comes down to, is just understanding that you got to go out there and do what you have to do. And then when you do it, because I became number 1 in the world the first time when I was 19. Okay, in 1981, and I ran 10.00 in 100. And I was number 1 the last time at 30, and I ran 9.86. So I got from 10 flat to 986 just to stay at number one. So that's what it took. And I had that, that long stretch of winning, but it's not just like, oh, I'm number one now, it's great. No, I had to actually get better to stay number one. And there were like 5 things, including Ben Johnson, 5 people. I mean, he just said, forget it. We can't beat him. I'm gonna just get high as a research monkey. I'm gonna catch him. But then he got busted, so, I mean, my man, it was like there was science on him,
Yeah.
But that's what it's about. It's never ending. And when you guys won the Super Bowls, you are not the same team the third Super Bowl as the first Super Bowl because you probably wouldn't have won it.
Not even close.
Because they knew you.
Exactly. Not only did they know me, but our team had changed by the time we got to that third Super Bowl because of free agency and everything else. So things do change in the process. But back to your statement earlier, the fundamentals of the game did not change.
Right, exactly.
And then you talking about the nuances. This is what people oftentimes forget is the nuances of the game or the nuances of the organization or the teamwork aspect of it, whether it's you individually working with a team that's helping you understand all the technical things that you just described, or it's me working with Troy, Michael, and everybody else for 3 straight years or 3 out of the 4 years that we won the Super Bowl. People have to gel together every year because every year is a different year. It's never the same.
Yep. And Moose now, my man up front. But the thing is that here again, because I just to think about it, I remember when you actually the day you broke the record, and Johnson came down, and I saw that energy between the two of you, and they were like saying, "Oh, all this kind of stuff," because of you. Here again, it's back to understanding what didn't change is that he knew where to be, you knew where to be, but he had to understand, and you had to understand, well, gosh, that linebacker's faster, and so if I get out and hit that whole thing, he's going to be there, not like someone else. So the thing is but it still doesn't change the fact that I got to get the ball and make that decision. Correct. And so that's the challenge that we have with the young people. They, part of it to me is the attention span is so short now. It's like you can't concentrate. And that's why one of the things I do, I ban earphones. I don't want music at practice. I don't want any of that stuff. If you come into the building, take your earphones off. I need focus. Because
but how do you deal with kids these days that have ADHD issues, focus issues, attention span issues?
Well, honestly, I work with them and then they stay home. They don't travel because they don't make it. I mean, the thing is that I work with them as much, but if they don't travel, because what we have to do, what we in sports have to get out of, sports is not a right. It's a privilege. It really is. And so if we try to do everything possible to give every kid an opportunity, and obviously there's some kids with more talent and some kids with less talent, but the bottom line, sports is probably the most unfair situation in the world, because you could be the nicest guy, work the hardest, and be there early every time, and I love you, and you just aren't good enough. Right. And then you have someone who's an asshole that's the best guy. It's just not fair. It's like, damn, I wish I can get rid of him and give him, let's mix you and make talent, and so it's unfair, but that's just unfortunately it's the way it is.
You know what, Carl? You said something that was very profound, and most people in the world don't realize it, because in sports, you do see that kind of that difference between a guy that may have ADHD issues, but a work ethic like no other.
Right.
A guy that has talent that don't have a work ethic at all and got the worst attitude. And you're right. It is a right. You earn the right.
Yeah.
Because you have to earn the right. There is no damn participation trophies.
No. We try.
All the participation trophies going out the window. And we have become a participation trophy generation.
Hi, Carl, and how are you? And good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I never have a bad day.
That's the way we got to do it.
Well, if it is, I do it. Emmitt's doing.
Right. Well, okay. I love track. I just love track. My son ran track. Mom ran track. But I want to know about long jump. Does that enhance the speed for the 100 or the 200?
Yeah.
Any type of way?
Well, the way to answer that is that the long jump is so much more difficult. So if I had to put them on a scale of 1 to 10, 100 was a 10. 100 meters is a 4. It's really that much of a difference. So if you long jump, you can do anything. And that's why, because there's so many more components to it. And so I would say it definitely enhances it. Now, the speed definitely helps, because no matter what you say is that if you have more speed leaving the board, you're going to jump far. It's like anything. But that's the technical part. How do you take that speed and leave the board at the correct angle?
And Emmitt, I hope everything is going well with your son. My prayers are with you with that. And I have one question for you.
Okay.
How old were you when you first started playing football, and how did you feel when you got on the field for the very first time?
How old was I when I first started playing football?
Yeah.
I was 8 years old when I first started playing organized football. And I played quarterback. I wore number 12 like Roger Staubach. And it felt good because all I did was run with the football. I never threw a pass.
Oh, wow. So that led you to the running back, right?
Yeah. And so when I turned 9, a guy changed me from quarterback to running back, and I've been a running back ever since. So
you basically knew at that time that's what you wanted to do. You loved the game of football.
Yes, that is truly it, because I come to realize you have to be passionate about things that you really want to do, because without that passion, without that love for that particular sport, you would quit in a New York second.
Emmitt, you hold the most consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons at 11 from 1991 to 2001. That's consistency. Carl, you had a 10-year span of 65 consecutive victories in the long jump, one of sports' most undefeated streaks that you'd ever hear of. 65, that's just amazing. So what went into your preparation that made you both so consistent and different?
You take it first, because I want to.
You go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm on here every week, but go ahead.
Well, my thing was the way to win the long jump is that it sounds simple to say jump farther than everyone else. Well, when I was 19, I jumped 28 feet. And so no one else could jump 28 feet at that time. So I was basically a foot farther than everyone else. And then so my thing was, if I could jump 28 feet, I'm not going to lose. And when I finally did lose after 10 years, I jumped 29 feet and lost. So I was kind of right for 10 years. So for me, it was back to what we said a long time ago. I learned how to jump. I never forgot technically, and I demanded that performance. So if I jumped a 26-foot jump, maybe a bad jump, I would turn around and walk back through and say, I don't even want that on my record. Or 27 was not acceptable. Fouling was unacceptable. So I made it exacting. Every single day, I went down and practiced, because of the 65 meets, I bet you about 10 of them I took 6 jumps. I always took 2 or 3, stopped. So 1 or 2 stopped. I probably won on the first jump 60 or 70% of the time. So it was about perfection. Every jump has to be perfect, and perfect means 28. 28 is farther than they can go. And that's just kind of what it was. And I just stayed with that philosophy, jump farther than anyone else has the ability, because back then, even in the sprints, I did research on who I knew everyone who was in every race, even before the internet. It's like, he's in the race, he's run this fast, he's run that fast, he's jumped this far, he's jumped that far. So in the first, if you follow my career, I ran fast the first day. Well, the whole point is that I wanted you to go to sleep thinking about me when I'm thinking about sheep. Okay. So, and I wanted to be in your head. So that was what it was. It was always about preparation, being keep away, knowing I can jump farther, make sure you jump farther than anyone else could. And it happened every single time. But I'll tell you this, there's no question about it. If I had just been a sprinter or just been a long jumper, I would have jumped farther or run faster. It definitely cost my distance and my speed. But I also would be sitting back here saying, damn, I wonder if I could have won 4 gold medals. To me, that's, LA is a big issue. So during that, I didn't get it. And it's funny, I jumped 29 feet, 1 track meet in my life, but I jumped it 3 times and lost. I'm having a great night. Eagles are dogging the Cowboys, so let's start there. But no, it's great. I really appreciate it. I like, man. I would love to come back sometime. And maybe Cowboys in the playoffs or something. I don't know, but it's great, and the questions were good. First of all, I like the medium. It's when COVID came around. It's to me, it just helped explode this whole idea that we can communicate any way we want to. And
Right.
so I really enjoyed. I've had a good, and you've been hilarious on promoting it on Twitter. It's been hilarious. So a lot of the kids have been like saying, "Man, what do you get ready to do?" Because they're always like, "You know everything and knew everything," And then tomorrow I'm going to kill them in practice too. So thanks for having me on. It was great. Obviously, always great seeing you, Emmitt. And
Yeah, likewise.
have me back sometime. I'd love to come back.